Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Good.
Great. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
My husband and I have an orchestra that's mainly based out of New York City, and we play dinner dances and weddings and that kind of thing for New York, like you said, high-end weddings. We've played the wedding for Catherine Zeta-Jones and for Geraldo Rivera and Donald. I sang at Donald Trump's wedding tomorrow.
Did they invite you back when they get married again?
I did not get invited back to the last wedding, but we have been blessed with a good business, a unique business, and we decided to move down here for a better quality of life for our family, and then we found you guys.
Yeah, that's been a joy. So you guys have been building your family here.
We have. When we moved down here, we had 2 children, and now we have 6.
And how did that happen so quickly?
Well, I had a kind of a history of not really listening to the Lord, of kind of ignoring Him, and came down here, and shortly after we moved down here, had a heavy burden to adopt, and one that I thought that I could shake, because I really... I had said to the Lord a few times with my children, I felt so blessed. I said, Lord, with the first one, if nothing else amazing happens to me, I'm blessed. And then I had my son, and so I felt this burden. I kept ignoring it. And then one day, in the middle of the day, I had this vision that I was standing before the Lord, and He said, and it was on Judgment Day, He said, I asked you to do this one thing, and you didn't do it. Why did you disobey me? Okay. And I knew that I had a tendency to not be as obedient. And so I went to my husband. He said, okay, let's do it. And then the burden came again a couple years after, 3 times as intense. I just felt a call to Africa. And now we have adopted, last year, almost exactly at this time, we adopted 3 children from Africa. So we have 2 children by birth and 4 via adoption.
Good night. That's amazing. So we've heard of Mother Teresa, but now we're meeting Mother Deanna. Now, what's that like to have? What's that like to have that many children who are just all suddenly piled in? Is that? Has it been like a Pollyanna story, or is there a little bit of the other side?
There's a lot of chaos.
Okay.
You just have to function in chaos, which is kind of, I guess, the entertainment business has prepared us for that.
Oh, that's great. Are you guys true musicians where you go to bed at 4 and get up at noon?
We can't do that anymore.
Those days are over. Well, as you guys prepared to do this adoption, what was did you weigh out the cost in thinking about how much this is going to change your life long term, financially, your time, your energy, your emotions, your investment, any stigma that would be involved with family members, that you now have this United Nations in your own household? Your daughter is adopted from Guatemala, 3 children from Ethiopia, and then, of course, you're 2.
Yeah, you weigh it all. And I mean, I remember talk about the financial side of it. At one day I was like, dear Lord, how are we going to do this? And then it was just very clear that there's sacrifices to be made. And yet what you're doing is what you're giving is so important. So, I remember sitting and thinking, you know what, I could give up my Starbucks. I could give up, having designer shoes and designer clothes for all of the kids to give them a life, especially, coming from a place where their parents have died and they've seen so much. So you weigh that, you do think about your time, and yet when God calls you, and when He calls you in such a strong way, what choice do you have?
Yeah.
You can choose to be disobedient, or you can choose to take that leap of faith. So you think about it. Of course, He wants you to be diligent. You think about it and you try to figure it all out, and then you go into the unknown.
Mm-hmm. Deanna, did you grow up with this kind of biblical Christian, Judeo-Christian worldview? Did you grow up this way?
No.
Okay.
I grew up as a Lutheran in my church, but I felt totally disconnected from God. I had a really tough childhood. And I didn't know the Lord truly. I was totally disconnected. I thought that God was punitive and would punish me, and didn't understand about redemption. And it was a huge transformation that occurred.
Something happened in particular that made you feel?
When I was 18 years old, I had this great job working in Florida in a group called Kids of the Kingdom at Disney World. It was a dream job for a teenager. And I was living with my boyfriend, and I got pregnant. And I was totally lost and did not know what to do and felt that abortion was the only choice for me. And unfortunately, that's what I chose. I had to struggle with the choice. I did not know what to do, but I had been supporting myself since I was 16, so I chose abortion. And then I went into the clinic. My boyfriend dropped me off, sped off, left me there alone as an 18-year-old, went in, crying out to God, who I did not know. I did not know him. I thought that he was punitive. I was angry at him for getting me pregnant. That's what I thought. And then, sorry, but but I still called out to him, and I went in, and there were two women laughing in the waiting room as they were waiting for their abortions. I was trying to hold back tears, and I went in and I aborted my child. And immediately I fell into an intense, deep desperation, devastation. I could not even, they had to lift me up and carry me into the waiting room, and I just cried and cried, and I was like that for days. I went home, I was in the fetal position crying for 3 days, and that was a Monday. I had to get up on a Friday and try to sing again. I had to dress up in a white jumpsuit and stand in front of Cinderella's castle and sing, "When you wish upon a star, your dreams will come true." And I went like this for 6 months, and I tried to continue to laugh and to smile and to greet the guests, and I couldn't. I couldn't sing anymore. I couldn't dance anymore, and I was just devastated. So eventually I quit the job I was trying to save by having the abortion. I broke up with the guy that I was trying to please by having the abortion, so I lost that, and I hit rock bottom, and I wanted to die. And I wanted to kill myself. I was really going to kill myself. I thought I could take sleeping pills. And then my mother called me, and I just knew I couldn't. And then I was angry with myself for not being able to kill myself, which was so twisted. But also in that darkest, darkest place, I called out to the Lord. I said, "I don't know you, but please, they say that you can forgive me. They say that you can transform me. Forgive me for this sin. Help me. Take me out of this place of wanting to be dust and wanting to be nothing." I truly wanted to be nothing, into wanting to live again. And it was almost immediately that my life turned around. And so I moved to New York City, left my boyfriend. Eventually I met my husband, Mark. I got into the Word. I started to study who the Lord was. I knew that Psalms 139, it says that He knit us in our mother's womb. And then I learned that, if He's creating something, we don't go and pull the thread and the yarn away and try to, rip it apart. We don't say when He's giving us a gift, "No, I'm sorry, I'm too young. I'm not equipped and I don't like that gift. The arm is wrong or something." We put it on with pride. So then, and I didn't think that I would ever have children. I thought the Lord deserves to punish me. He should. And then I gave birth to my daughter Samantha, and again I was just like, "Oh Lord, you have been so generous." I started to learn who He was. He was so graceful and merciful. And then the huge miracles that 5 years later, and again I said, "Lord, if nothing else amazing happens to me, it's okay. I have my daughter. You are amazing. I will just give my life to you, whatever you want." At 5 years old, we took her into Disney World hand in hand. It's the first time that I'd been back there since I left after the abortion. And I was just praising Him for being hand in hand with my daughter at Disney World. And I was just so grateful. And then 6 weeks later, we found out that we conceived our son Andrew at Disney World in those 3 days that we were there, in the same place that I had aborted my baby. So I just say, praise God. And I was just, at that point, what do you want? Whatever you want, my life is yours. So when I did have that burden to adopt, and I kind of ignored it, but I said, I'm going to do it.
The first thing, though, is you do believe God healed you.
God healed me. It says in Jeremiah 31:15, it said, "A voice is heard in Ramah, and of great weeping and mourning, and Rachel just weeping for her children, and she's inconsolable because her children are no more." Women that abort, that's how they feel. And it's really bad because they don't feel that they are entitled to grieve. I grieved great tears. I was so devastated, but I refused to tell anybody. But then it also says in Hosea 2:15, it says that I will give you back your vineyards. And it says that I'll transform our valley of Acre into a door of hope. Mm-hmm. And then it says that she will sing again as in her youth. And that's what has happened to me. I am singing, I am genuinely joyous, but it was a huge, huge journey. Women who abort their babies suffer incredibly. I mean, there's a huge, huge amount of pain that goes on with that, and it's in secret.
Do you think that adopting children has been a part of your restoration, or do you think you would have adopted children had you not had an abortion?
I don't know. I mean, at one point I never thought we would have any children, but I do think that God restores and brings us back, and I think He used that because I think He used that, and I think with different people He may use different things, but adoption has been such a blessing, and every day I just say to Him, even in the chaos, even in the noise, even when I can't find a matching sock or whatever, I am just saying, praise you, Lord. I have a full quiver.
Well,
it's full.
I would say, your quiver is full, and your husband is quivering. Yeah. Well, Deanna, thank you so much for this story of restoration, this story of hope. This is a real story, and thank you for being who you are. You're a rescuer of so many children around the world, and all that you represent. We appreciate you. Thank you.